Alright, I'm making a video to summarize the Twilight Imperium game we played, our first time game, for several reasons. One, because I want to dispel the notion that I only record stuff like this in video games when I win. I didn't win, although we didn't finish the game. I didn't see myself winning this game. Two is, none of us had played Twilight Imperium before. And I want something out there to tell people. I'm sure there's plenty of other things that give them an idea of what they might need to know before they play this game, but you don't want to Google first time Twilight unless you are into My Little Pony sex fan fiction. Then go ahead. And maybe you want to do both things. So anyway, this is the game. It's behind me here. There were 5 of us playing. That's not ideal. 6 is probably the best. Maybe even 4 is better than 5. But hey, that's what we had. I'd prefer to have the 5 people we had than only have 4 of them. So, whatevs. Now, if you're going to play this game with a group of people, you got to know it's going to take for fucking ever. You're probably not going to finish it. Period. Unless you got a whole weekend, right? And none of you have jobs or children. But if you want to try to make a go at completing it, you got to do a few things the night before you play. One, you're going to have 6 of these little babies just chock full of these little, let me show you. So yeah, these little plastic jobbies here. There's just ass loads of these things, right? You see them all. This is with 5 people. So yeah. You're going to want to spend a few hours cutting these out the night before. Otherwise, everyone's going to leave and not want to play with you. I needed frickin' wire clippers to get some of these because I was so nervous about fucking up the pieces. Although somehow, when my brain turned off, I was able to ruin many of these PDS units. I don't really know how I did that. So anyway, space madness, I guess. So yeah. Do that the night before. Also, all of these kind of things, like, well, first of all, like these hexagons, which might look familiar if you played like Settlers or Catan or something like that. These like little tokens, these command counters, trade good counters, whoopsie daisy. Right, there's just ass loads of sheets of cardboard with all these things you got to punch out. Hey, do your friends a favor. Do that yourself. So anyway, I did all that the night before. Everyone came over for a 9 a.m. start. We had potluck breakfast, and then we read the rules. Now, in a 5-player game, there's a thing with the map, right? So let me flip this around. You can see what I'm talking about here. As you can see, the board itself is a hexagon, right? As are the individual pieces of the board. Well, in a perfect game, you'd have 6 people, right? And you'd have 1 at every corner. But with 5 people, you can't do that, right? So what ends up happening in the method we chose, which is in the main book, the basic set, well, this little jobby here tells you, is that you have, someone here, someone here, someone here, and they're close, right? They're only 2 spaces away from each other. Then you got these jokers over here further away. This is like the normal space between. They get, 3 here between them. This was in Supernova. And then there are 3 away from us over here. So to compensate, this player and this player start the game with 4 trade goods. That's these little jobbies here. You can use these like resources to substitute for resources or political influence. So they get 4. This poor sucker gets 6. That was played by our friend Greg. You can see this is where we ended up the game, right? Greg is pretty much boned at this point in the game, and I think his position had a lot to do with that, both in the sense that he was close to Erica and myself, and I'm a dick at games, so that didn't help him. Anyway, so yeah, you set it all up, you got to pick a map, and then a part of the game is, you start placing these hexes, you deal them out to everybody, and they can kind of decide how the universe is created. That might explain, if you look here I am, everyone knows what I play games like. These are almost impassable, right? You can get, well, they make it hard. They stick me with these, they stick me with some empty space, they put a wormhole. I just got fucked over here, right? Jerry somehow got shitloads of great planets.
Jason did okay. He had a lot of unused space, and he had a supernova, so he wasn't great. Erica, you know what? Here's some advice. If you're going to play with a girl, you really got to watch her. Because if it's like a bunch of dudes, in this case 4 dudes and a girl, they're going to take it easy on her. And Erica probably would have won if we'd played this whole thing out. But anyway, she got all sorts of juicy planets. Greg doesn't really have dick over here. His planets were pretty resource poor, and he's missing a few. So he was boned. Here, I'll flip around.
Once you have assembled the map, and you know what, if you're tight on time, you might want to do it yourself the night before. Sure, that takes out part of the game, like screwing your people, your neighbors with like what you put in their space. That's important, you know, but it takes time. It took like an hour probably to assemble the board. There are alternate 5-player maps that are more U-shaped and other variations that aren't shape of a hexagon. But I figured we wanted to play it the broken way that's in the rules before we go trying to fix it. You know, maybe it would have played fine. I think there was probably a disadvantage to it. But anyway, you do that. You got to pick races, which is fun. It's part of generating the planets. So there's 10 races. We played with 5. A normal game, you'd have 6 of those dudes. And they all have shit about them extra that makes them unique. And kind of give you hints towards how they would play. So I'll go through and tell you what everybody had in our case.
So I started with the Nalu Collective. They're like sexy space mermaids. Their abilities are they can retreat from space combat, which is nice. If they don't want to fight, they can just retreat for free before they get attacked. They get a +1 on space combat rolls. And also, whatever the number of their, you pick these strategy cards throughout the game, and they have a number, and that's the order in which they happen. Well, yours are always 0. So you go first no matter what, once that phase happens, which is really fun. So that was me. Sexy space mermaids. They start in this system. Your planets are pretty much bullshit. They don't have anything for resources, really. Then we got over here to my left was Jerry. Oh, my pieces were blue, right? Jerry's playing yellow. And he had the Emirates of Hakan. They're like trade master lions, I guess. There's a part of the game where you have to you suggest trades with other players, but whoever picked the trade strategy thing, this isn't it, but there's one like this for trade. Whoever picks that, they get to approve or deny all those trades, and you end up having to bribe them, which sucks. Well, he doesn't need the approval, which is cool. He also gets extra benefit from trade, some other stuff, I forget. So anyway, that's Jerry. To his left, playing red, is Jason. He had the Mintak Coalition. They are like space pirates. So they start with extra command. You use these command pool counters to move your troops and to take actions like attacking and stuff like that. You use these to usually execute the secondary abilities of these strategy cards. And this is how big your fleet can be. So anyway, his special thing is he gets to steal from 2 players each round during the strategy phase if they're rich. Other stuff, I think he gets to shoot you first in space battle, which really sucks. Some other thing. Then, okay, over to his left, playing purple, was Erica, playing the Chaka Kingdom? I don't know. They're these snapping turtle people. You'd think they would just be like evil warriors, but they're kind of negotiators and diplomats instead. So if someone picks the diplomacy card, they get to use the primary benefit. But these guys, if someone else picks it, they also get to use the primary, which is nice. Opponents get a -1 to attack them in the first round of combat. Something else. So they're pretty good. Greg, he's playing green. He had the Sardak Noir. They're like bug people. Their benefit is they get +1 on all their combat rolls, which is pretty badass. So anyway, we set up the game. Oh yeah, you get secret objectives, right? So that becomes important. My secret objective was, if I was able to, once you meet this thing, you get these victory points. You're trying to play to a total, oops, upside down. Trying to play to 10 victory points. As you can see, we got to 5. So we weren't doing great. But that's Erica here in the league. I'm way this shit back here. So yeah, my secret objective was to control a Mechatol Rex, have a space dock there, and at least 6 ground forces. Mechatol Rex is the planet in the center of the board, and it's always the planet in the center of the board. It's like this was an empire. That was the seat of the empire, the old empire, that's fallen. There was a coup, and now you're trying to reunite the empire under your control. So that, I needed to get there, right? So hang on. So I wanted to get there. As you can see, I was not there. I made it nowhere near there. Well, last ditch, I kind of went over here. That's because other people have other secret objectives. Some of them may also have something to do with Mechatol Rex. I pretended to have no interest in Mechatol Rex, and so I managed through political wheedling to get myself this here. I was elected as the Minister of Internal Security, and at any point I could discard this card and destroy up to 4 ground troops here. But as it turned out, Erica's secret objective had nothing to do with ground troops here. It just was a space dock and 4 these dreadnoughts she needed, and then she could achieve that secret objective. There are other ways to get victory points. Throughout the game, people will reveal these public objectives, and any player can use these 1 time each to get 1 victory point. Also, if you pick the Imperial card, who had it? Okay, Jason had it last. The primary ability of this lets you receive 2 victory points. So that's another good way. However, when you do that, everybody else can build for free at one of their space docks, which sounds fucking scary, right? So no one picked this in the beginning. But if you're smart and wait to utilize this part, because you don't have to do this action as your first action. You can do troops, all other sorts of things. You wait till everybody's used up all their resources. They've exhausted their planets and they've spent their trade goods. Then you fire this thing off and they don't have any resources to build anything. So we figured that out a little late in the game. Anyway, that was my secret objective. I have no idea what everybody else's were, so I'm gonna cheat now. I mean, the game is over. Jerry, who I think would have probably won or come in second, his was he needed to take control of a neighbor's planet that held his last space dock on the board. Oh, and my neighbor is another player directly to my left or right. Oh, so he would have had either Jason or myself be beat down, either by him or someone else, right, or each other. Jason and I were really at each other's throats. And then he would have to take our last space dock away from us. And then during the status phase, which is the 3rd part of each phase, he would reveal, hey, I did this. That's 2 victory points. That's what he had. So Jason over here, I'm going to guess his had something to do with tech because he was going crazy for tech. His was Technocrat. I control at least 6 planets with a technology specialty. See, I guess that. When you get the planets, right, when you conquer a system and then you land a dude or troops on the planet, you get the planet card, right? So that's, whatever. Oh, they have terrible names. Cornique, I guess? And you can see on Cornique, there's this little red symbol here. That means that this planet has a specialty in that kind of tech. There's 4 colors of tech, right? There's red, yellow, green, and blue, and they correspond to things like biotech, and I forget what the other ones are. So anyway, if he had 6 planets that had these specialties, oh shit, he was close. He had 3. Oh, he had 3. I took some planets away from him over there. Anyway, if he had 6 of those, he could reveal that. He gets 2 points. So that was his. Erica's we figured out because she actually did it. So she held Mechatol Rex. He had a space dock there, and she had 4 dreadnoughts, which sounded crazy. She's over here just being peaceful, building her fleet like a mother grabber up to 6. She could have 6 ships in her fleet, which explains this whole clusterfuck here. And then Greg, let's see. I don't even see his secret objective card. Maybe under the rule book. There it is. So Greg was control at least 4 planets with the same technology specialty. So 4 biotech or 4 or whatever the other kinds of tech were. Well, I wonder how he was doing that. I was taking stuff away from him. I don't know what the hell that is. Oh, that's his home systems, I think. So anyway, the game, you know what? In this game, my advice to you, besides setting up the night before and all that jazz, don't be the first person to attack. In fact, try to attack last, maybe. I was the first because Greg was over here, and I had already developed my carriers. They could move 2 spaces, and I had them here. And he left like one dude on this planet, one of his green dudes, and nothing else really here. It was just kind of, there was too much weakness for me to resist. So I lunge in here, start wiping them out. Well, Jason, these are wormholes, these things with A's and B's. Well, the A side of this wormhole is over here in Jason's space. So he pops out and fucks me up pretty good. Pushed me back. I pushed him back out of the wormhole. He put tons of PDS units here, really built up his base. Meanwhile, Jerry's just building like crazy, not fighting anyone. Erica's doing the same. Now I'm the threat, right? Because I'm the dick that attacked first. These two kind of ally against me. I was in a spot, right? And meanwhile, then Jerry comes in trying to like test my defenses here. And Jerry gets to the point in the game. Actually, Jerry and Jason both achieve the technology. So let me show you. There's these charts. I'll just pull this up. We printed these up for everyone, and I would suggest you do that. This is a map of the technology paths in the game. So, right, you could build this anti-mass deflector, and if you have that prerequisite, then you can build this. If you have that, you can build this, etc., etc. And, you know, the penultimate is down here. You can build these War Suns. They're like Death Stars, right? They're like this big fucking thing. Whoopsie daisy. And they're badass. You can put troops in them, I think other ships. They get to shoot like 3 times. If they get hit, you turn them on their side, and they're still okay until they get hit again. They're like literally Death Stars. And Jason and Jerry both achieved that technology. Jerry did it through action cards, which enabled him to skip one of the prerequisites. So that's, I guess, another piece of good advice, is the action cards are pretty damn good. Actually, all of it, the game is really balanced. So anyway, they both achieved that tech. Jerry actually makes not 1, but 2 War Suns in the same damn turn. But then he didn't really have anywhere to go, because this is scary, right? He wants to get to Mechatol Rex, but Erica's, she made it not attractive place to go. And we knew we had to go, right? It's like 4, 5 o'clock. We've been playing since 10 in the morning. We only took 1 break to go outside and jump on the trampoline. We ate at the table. We knew the game was over, so people started getting crazy. You know, Jerry attacks me here. He got pushed back. Something happened here, I forget. I like, swoop in here and attack Erica just to say I had. Landed on one of her planets. I would have liked to crush Greg, and I think that was coming. But anyway, we talked, oh, maybe we'll get back together later in the night, you know, after everybody has to do their errands. And that's not going to happen, right? We played for 7 or 8 hours. So pace yourself, I guess is what I'm saying. Otherwise, you're going to get crazy at the end and make stupid mistakes. So if I had to say who won, I mean, based on the track, right, it's obvious that here is Erica. This is Jason, actually, with 4 points. Greg took an early lead in the game with 2 points. And it was most of the day where the score was 0 for everyone versus Greg's 2. And we'd been playing for like 5 hours, and that had been as far as we got. So anyway, based on this, I would say Erica won. I think that would have happened also, had we played this out. She would have won. Or Jerry, right? Jerry did have War Suns already. But she had such a force here. Anyway, I think it was between one of the 2 of them. And then probably Jason or myself next. I'm probably voting for Jason because he had a lot more defenses here. And he had been repentant and less aggressive, whereas I was still just attacking and being a dick. So anyway, that's my wrap-up, I guess. I'm mainly doing this so also next time we play, everybody can have bragging rights, and maybe we can learn from our mistakes if we ever are able to play this again. If you can ever get in on one of these games, you need to. You know, when you play Tetris, like the next day, or even for weeks, in the shower, or right before bed, you see the pieces moving. This is like the board game equivalent of that. Like, I thought about it all day after the game was done. I dreamt about it at night. I'm like, oh, I should have done this. I should have done this. It's amazing. So
get your hands on it, or find friends that have it. Play it. Keep in mind it has the Monopoly effect, so they may not be your friends anymore when you're done. Hopefully you guys will talk one day. But yeah, play it. It's like living in Dune or the Star Wars universe. It's like being in a space opera of epic scale. It's like Axis and Allies in space with Settlers of Catan, with voting. I mean, I don't know. I've never played a game like it. And I love it. So anyway, that's it. That's the wrap up. That's Twilight Imperium. First time, not first Twilight My Little Pony sex fanfiction. All right, see you dudes.